Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It was a seemingly normal Thursday, but as I watched Amanda slide her favorite lacy lingerie under her dress, a piece reserved usually for our anniversaries or my birthday, I felt a gnawing twist in my gut. Another girls' night? I asked, trying to keep my tone neutral as I sipped my coffee. She flashed me a quick smile, her eyes darting away too soon. Yeah, just catching up with Sarah and Jess. It's been ages. She leaned over, pecking me on the cheek, her perfume lingering in the air long after she pulled away. I tried to shake off the unease as I watched her gather her purse and keys. Don't wait up, okay? It might be a late one. Sure, I muttered, the words tasting bitter. Work dragged on, the hands of the clock seeming to mock me with their sluggish pace. By the time I got home, the sun had already dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the empty driveway. Amanda's spot was vacant. I tried calling her, but it went straight to voicemail. A sleepless night led to a decision. The next day, while Amanda was showering, I slipped a GPS tracker into her car, a tiny beacon of betrayal hidden beneath the plush leather of the driver's seat. The digital map on my phone became my new obsession. I watched as the little blip moved across town, not towards the city center where she worked, but away, towards the outskirts. The blip stopped at a familiar address, the country home of Jack, a family friend, a man I had trusted. My hands trembled as I drove to Jack's house. The quiet of the countryside was a stark contrast to the storm raging in my chest. Her car was there, nestled next to Jack's in the driveway. I approached the door, my heart pounding in my ears. I rang the bell, once, twice, but no answer came. The house seemed to swallow the sound. Moving around to the side, the faint sound of a moan drifted through an ajar window, slicing through me sharper than any blade. I stood there, frozen, as the truth unfolded in cruel whispers. Betrayal wasn't just a word, it was a piercing reality, echoed in the intimate sounds that seeped through the old wooden frames of Jack's house. The drive home was a blur. I was a vessel of numbness, steering mechanically through the night. When Amanda returned, her face flushed, eyes avoiding mine, I was waiting. "We need to talk," I said, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside. "What's wrong?" Her voice was light, too light. I tossed the GPS tracker onto the table between us. "Why were you at Jack's house?" Her face paled, eyes widening. She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. Jack needed. "I heard you, Amanda." My interruption was quiet but sharp. "From the window. How could you?" She collapsed onto the sofa, burying her face in her hands. "I'm so sorry," she sobbed. "It just happened. I never meant to hurt you." But the damage was done. The foundation of our life together had cracked, irreparably. The following weeks were a whirlwind of anger, hurt, and legal papers. I told her to leave, to take her betrayal away from what had been our home. The divorce was quick, fueled by mutual anguish and regret. She tried to reach out, once, twice. A call, a letter, apologies that couldn't mend the shattered trust. I never responded. And so, we became strangers, bound only by memories of what once was and what could never be again. The weeks following Amanda's departure were hollow. Each day melded into the next with little distinction, my once vibrant world now dimmed to monochrome. Yet, amidst the quiet ruin of my daily routine, a call from my sister, Evelyn, pierced the silence. "Mike, you can't just hide away," Evelyn's voice was firm, tinged with concern. "You need to get out of that house, see people. Why don't you come over tonight? Some friends are coming, it'll do you good." Reluctantly, I agreed. Her place, always bustling and warm, might chase away the chills settling in my bones. That evening, As I walked into her lively living room, the scent of roasted garlic and laughter hit me. It felt foreign but faintly familiar. Evelyn ushered me in, introducing me around. I nodded and smiled, the gestures automatic. "Mike, this is Linda," Evelyn said, guiding me toward a woman with a sharp bob and an even sharper gaze. "Linda's a private investigator, believe it or not." Linda shook my hand with a firm grip. "Evelyn's told me quite a bit about you." "Tough break." I shrugged, uncomfortable under her scrutinizing eyes. "It happens. More often than you'd think," Linda replied, her voice low. "If you ever need someone to dig a little deeper, find out things, well, that's what I do." Her words lingered in my mind as the night wore on. By the time I left, a plan was forming. The next morning, I called Linda. "You mentioned last night about finding out things. I need to know if this was really just between Amanda and Jack. I can't shake the feeling there's more to it." "All right," Linda's voice was all business now. "I'll need some details from you. We can start with their communications. Do you have access to any of her devices?" "No, she took everything. But I know her patterns, her passwords." "That's a start," she interrupted. "Meet me at my office tomorrow. We'll go from there." Her office was cluttered with files and old coffee cups. She motioned for me to sit, her eyes never leaving her computer as she began typing rapidly. "So," Linda began, pausing to look at me. "This isn't just about finding out the truth, is it? You're thinking of payback." I hesitated, then nodded. "I want to make sure they don't just walk away from this. Not without consequences." "Understood," she said, a hint of a smile playing at her lips. "Let's see what we can find." Days turned into weeks as Linda dug through layers of digital footprints and unspoken secrets. Each new piece of information was a sting, but also a balm, giving me a sense of control for the first time in months. Then, one afternoon, Linda called me urgently. "Mike, you need to see this. It's not just Jack and Amanda. There's a whole network, eh? Let's just say, your situation isn't unique." As I sat in her office, staring at the web of deceit spun around not just my life but several others, my resolve hardened. This was bigger than a simple affair, it was a betrayal that reached deep into the lives of many. "What do you want to do?" Linda asked, her tone serious. I looked at the screen again, my jaw set. "We expose them. All of them. No more secrets." Linda nodded, the ghost of a smile returning. "All right. Let's take them down." The pieces were set, the players known. Now it was time for the game to begin. The cool breeze that fluttered through Linda's office window carried a hint of impending rain, mirroring the storm brewing within me as we prepared to delve deeper into the network of deceit. "So, how do we start?" I asked, leaning forward, my hands clenched on the desktop. Linda's eyes were fixed on her dual monitors, a myriad of documents and emails displayed. "First, we map out everyone connected to Jack and Amanda. We've got a list of names from the emails, friends, colleagues, even some family members who might be involved or know something. Then we confront them." My voice was eager, perhaps too eager. "Not yet," she cautioned, her gaze lifting to meet mine. "We gather evidence first. Photos, messages, anything concrete. We need to understand the full extent of this before making a move." I nodded, the logical part of my brain agreeing with her strategy, even as impatience gnawed at me. "What do you need from me?" "Patience," she quipped, but her smile faded quickly. "And access. Can you get us into some of the places they frequent? Bars, clubs, maybe even offices?" "I can try." The idea of infiltrating the places Amanda had betrayed me twisted my stomach, but determination pushed the discomfort aside. Over the next few days, Linda and I worked tirelessly. Using my knowledge of Amanda's habits and the information Linda extracted from her digital investigation, we tracked the movements of the group. Cameras were discreetly placed, capturing gatherings and secretive exchanges. Each snippet of conversation, every covert meeting, added to our growing database of proof. Then, one evening, as we reviewed footage from a hidden camera in a popular upscale bar, we struck gold. The screen showed Jack handing over an envelope to a well-dressed man I recognized as a local businessman, their conversation muffled but their body language suggestive of a clandestine deal. Linda paused the footage, zooming in on the envelope. "That's it. That's our leverage. We need to know what's in that envelope." My voice was steady, the pieces of the puzzle beginning to form a clearer picture. Time to step up our game. Linda was already on her phone, speaking quickly. "I have a contact who can help us with that. Meet me here tomorrow, and we'll plan our next move." The following night, under the shroud of darkness, we met with Linda's contact, a hacker with the skills to infiltrate the most secure networks. In a dimly lit coffee shop, the hacker, who went by the alias Ghost, laid out his tools, his fingers dancing across the keyboard with a hypnotic rhythm. "Accessing the businessman's emails now," Ghost murmured, his eyes not leaving the screen. "Bingo. Got something about a big payout and a project that needs discretion." Linda and I exchanged a glance. "Can you print that?" she asked. "Already on it." Ghost's printer whirred softly in the background. Armed with these documents, we knew we had enough to confront Jack and his associates. But before that, we needed one final piece of the puzzle, the content of the envelope. A plan formed, risky but necessary. "Ghost, can you track that envelope's next movement?" Linda's tone was all business. "Already set up for alerts on his phone. We'll know." 2 days later, the alert came. The envelope was on the move, scheduled for delivery at a private club downtown. Linda and I, cloaked in nondescript attire, positioned ourselves across the street as the businessman arrived, clutching the same envelope. "Ready?" Linda whispered, her camera lens peeking through the slightly ajar window of our car. "Let's do this," I confirmed, the weight of the moment settling heavy on my chest. As the businessman exited the club, envelope in hand, we approached swiftly, our evidence folder ready. "Mr. Collins," Linda called out, her voice cutting through the evening air. He turned, surprise etching his features. "Who are you?" "We know about the project, the payouts, and what's in that envelope. We can make this public, or you can talk to us." His eyes flickered with uncertainty, then resignation. The game was on, and we were playing for keeps. The cold gusts of the early evening whirled around us as Mr. Collins faced us, the envelope still gripped tightly in his hand. The surprise on his face quickly morphed into a sly, calculating look. "You have no idea what you're stepping into," he hissed, his eyes darting nervously. "We know enough," Linda retorted, holding up the folder thick with evidence. "And we're not the only ones interested in your projects." Colin's demeanor shifted, the fight seemed to drain out of him as he glanced down at the envelope, then back at us. "What do you want?" "Everything," I said, my voice firm. "Start talking, or this goes to the press and the police." Under the stark streetlights, Collins opened the envelope and pulled out several documents, spreading them on a nearby bench. They were contracts and bank statements, all pointing to a large-scale money laundering operation involving not just Jack and Amanda, but a network of local businesses and prominent individuals. Linda snapped photos of each document. "How is Amanda involved?" I demanded, my gaze fixed on Collins, who seemed smaller now, deflated. She was the one who brought us Jack. Said he was reliable, could move money without attracting attention. And in return, Linda's voice was like ice. "Money, lots of it. And protection," Collins confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. Protection. The word echoed in my mind. Amanda hadn't just betrayed me, she'd been involved in criminal activities, using our relationship as a cover. I felt a pang of something far colder than betrayal: disgust. We need a full list of everyone involved, Linda said, her phone already in her hand, likely texting her next move. Collins nodded, defeated, and began naming names. As he did, Linda recorded everything, her expression unreadable. Once we had what we needed, I looked at Collins. If you've lied about anything. He shook his head quickly. No, I swear. That's everything. As we walked away, leaving Collins with his crumbling empire, Linda nudged me. You okay? I wasn't sure. The revelations of the night had shaken me to my core. Not just the scale of the deception, but the role Amanda had played. We parted ways with Linda promising to handle the fallout. I'll take it from here. Go home, Mike. This is over for you. But it wasn't over. Not yet. The next day, as the sun cast a pale light through my windows, I heard a knock. It was Amanda. She looked worn, her eyes red-rimmed, her posture that of defeat. Mike, she began, but I held up a hand. I know everything, Amanda. The money, Jack, all of it. She flinched as if struck. I was going to tell you. We were in too deep, Anne. And you thought betraying me was the way out. My voice was calm, but inside, I was raging. I thought I could protect you, she whispered. By lying. By cheating. I shook my head. You need to leave. Now. Amanda nodded slowly, tears streaming down her face. I really am sorry, Mike. I watched her go, the finality of her departure a heavy silence in the house. It was over. The love, the trust, all of it gone, replaced by a cold resolve to rebuild my life, alone. The story broke out a few days later, the scandal rocking the local community as arrests were made. Jack, Collins, and several others were taken in, their misdeeds laid bare for the world to see. As for me, I found solace in the solitude, the quiet giving me space to think, to heal. Amanda's betrayal was a harsh lesson, but one that had freed me from a life entangled with deceit. I never saw Amanda again. The hatred for the betrayal sealed the distance between us, a chasm too wide and too deep to ever cross again. My future lay ahead, uncharted but mine to shape, far from the shadows of deceit that had once defined my world.